Okay folks, this is a real quick lecture and it's just to show you how you can hide and unhide non-sequential rows and columns. So that is rows which aren't following one after the other, and similarly for columns too. Now to do this, you simply use the Control key on your keyboard and select each of the rows and columns that you want to hide. So for example, if I wanted to hide rows 4 and rows 7, now to do that, I'd simply press the Control key and then select row 7. And as you can see, it's selected row 7 and row 4 is still selected as well. And you'd simply do the same for each subsequent row that you wish to hide. Then once you've done all that, move your mouse to one of the numbers on your rows. So not this bit here, but just this bit here. And then right click, and then you can hide them. Now, just before I hide it, folks, I'll just show you what happens if you click on a bit other than the number. You can see that we don't actually get the hide option because Excel thinks that we want to do some manipulation work on this row itself. So it's giving us options to that specific row. But we actually want to hide both rows. So to do that, just move your mouse back to over here or over here, and then just right click, and then just click hide. There. Now, similarly for columns, you can use the Control key again. So let's say I wanted to hide both columns B, D, and E. Now D and E are next to each other, folks, but B is separated from D and E because you've got column C in between. So I would select columns D and E first, then press the Control key, then select column B. And similarly, make sure you right click over one of the letters and not in the data bit here. If you do, again, the contextual menu that you get is more specific to the actual column itself, and the hide and unhide options don't show. So if you just click on any of the letters, you'll get the options showing, and then just click hide, and there you go. There. Okay, so now that we've got our columns and rows hidden, let's see how we can unhide them. Now with the methods that we've carried out, the best one is basically to select the adjacent rows and columns which encapsulate your hidden rows and columns, and then just right click and click unhide. So you can see here that we've got our parallel lines, but if you can use the methods 1 and 2 that we highlighted in our previous lectures for rows and columns hiding and unhiding, it would get very messy. And it would take a lot of time because we've got more than one row and more than one column both hidden. So what I would suggest is basically find the point where your last hidden row is, and then just select the row above it. And similarly for the below row. So I've selected rows 3 to 8, and we know that encapsulates the hidden row 4 and the hidden row 7. So we end at 8 here. Then right click and then go to unhide. There. Similarly for columns, select the adjacent columns which encapsulate your hidden columns. So I've gone from A to F, which encapsulates the hidden column B and columns D and E. Then right click and go to unhide. There. So that concludes this lecture, folks. It was a real quick one. It was just to show you how we can hide and unhide non-sequential rows and columns. And we do that by using the Control key to highlight rows and columns that are not sequential in order. In terms of the methods to reveal them, I illustrated the best one, which is to select the adjacent rows and columns above and below, or to the left and right of your hidden rows and columns. And again, folks, remember, anything you hide will not show up when you print it as well. Now, if there are any questions or queries, please do feel free to reach out, and I will see you in the next lecture.